begun to really identify, whatever inner beauty, outer beauty, what have you, just that foundation is from Christ.
We're the only race on this planet that have this amazing natural, curly, kinky hair. So we're very, very unique as a people. And that is something to really celebrate. When I went into the workforce, that's when I started to see, the discrimination and the lack of opportunity.
Realizing the Black community didn't have the same opportunity or the same jobs or the same things I had access to.
Often white privilege it's mixed with class. There's a class system. There's a social system that gives you advantages, like the families that you're born in, the friends of your parents. It might be, white privilege is your head start in your education, maybe the school that you went to, the area that you grew up in. And if you're born into a middle or upper class family, you just have a head start. Your family are well connected, they're well resourced, and you're just born into this confidence. It's ingrained. It's something that is ingrained in you, this superiority that is just passed down, this confidence of your race and your history and your legacy. Your ancestral legacy.
I also feel like right now we really need our white allies to start stepping up, because if I'm vulnerable and I'm honest, I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted of having to deal with this for my entire life, of having to fight the good fight and raise awareness and talk about this and raise these conversations. It becomes exhausting. And so now that more white allies are becoming aware and are learning about this, then this is their opportunity to stand up and start making a change, to not sit there and be silent if something happens and it makes you feel uncomfortable and you feel like it's racist. Then trust that the people of color in the room feel 10 times worse than that.
It's super dangerous when you are amongst friends and colleagues, or when you're in your circles and somebody says something or makes a joke or has a comment or something, and you say nothing. When you are in and you're dealing with and addressing with the Black community, it's important to listen. It's important to not make judgment calls. It's important to not try to tell those who are living this and who are breathing this, who are traumatized by this daily, how to respond and how to live in their skin, and what it looks like and what it should be and what it shouldn't be. That's just not the time. It's the time to listen. It's the time to understand, to ask questions. It's the time to really learn.
It doesn't really mean a lot if you're not doing things on the ground. We talk about go and read books, go and read the history. You can get head knowledge, and it's not heart knowledge. Get alongside, go into the street, get alongside, the oppressed and a Black person or whatever, and just talk to them, get to know them on a one-to-one. Start with that.
And if you don't have a friend that you can call, that you feel comfortable, who could give you good information, then start praying and figuring out who's in your community and how to broaden that.
Rightly so, we were angry, but for me, it was important to just bring that justice and change in a peaceful way. That was really, really important to me.
I think the underlying tone is we cannot do this in our own power. And I think sometimes even as believers in the church, we try to step out and do things in our own power without the Holy Spirit. Stopping before you respond, learning to practice abiding in the Spirit. Lord, what should I say to this person? And letting the Lord work through us.
One of the most dangerous elements of racism and the power behind racism is silence. Especially in spaces where you have influence or you have a platform or you have a voice. I mean, Jesus, the Son of God, the King of all kings, advocated for the whore, advocated for the prostitute, advocated for the thief and the murderer. And so why wouldn't we advocate one for another, especially and speak up one for another, especially in cases where people are wrong?
Praying about, God, where do you want to plant me to make a difference? and to most importantly glorify your kingdom and bring people to you. And how do I serve, or how can I be there for those troubled hearts if I'm not personally feeling it, if I don't personally have an experience with something like this? How can you use me? And I think asking those questions, being open to hearing God's voice, and just most importantly, not being afraid to go with God's leading.
I was thinking white privilege, I feel, is the ability to be able to hide from this conversation, the ability to be able to not have to acknowledge that these are issues that we do have to deal with.
I hated that you said, but it's so true, and I've heard it. You know, white privilege is being able to not have to engage this conversation. Thank you for sharing that and having this conversation with me.